Hello, welcome to More Yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've been getting some requests lately for single leg stability work. So we kind of backed off of slightly more strenuous things while there was smoke in Vancouver, and now let's get back into it a little bit. The cool thing about single leg stability work is it works three major joints of stability as well as core strength and stuff like that. But your ankle, your knee, and your hip. So these three parts along the body. And if there's a weakness in one of them, it means there's likely a weakness somewhere else, or it could be stemming from somewhere else. So if your glutes are strong and they fire properly, then that increases the stability at the knee. And if the knee is stable, then the ankle ends up being stable as well. So it's a really cool way to work really your entire leg. Well, also it can just be fun and playful. So let's start lying down. If you're comfortable there, you can be on your back. Might have your legs outstretched. You could have your knees bent if you wish. Whatever feels good for you. And you might be comfortable being still right away, or maybe you're like me and you just had a coffee and you're kind of buzzing. So if you have some wiggles that you need to get out of the body, then go ahead and release whatever you need to release. And then for a few breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh the breath away. Couple more, just like that. And continue breathing however you need to, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. Notice how your breath is flowing, if it feels really open and spacious. Or maybe you notice some sticky or choppy spots along the way. And however your breath feels, just acknowledge it for what it's worth today. And start to bring a little bit of movement back to your body. A little bit of a deeper breath, perhaps. You might take a little stretch or a yawn or any kind of movement that feels good here. And then maybe hug your knees into your chest. Take a little rock from side to side. Finding a little bit more length in your spine here on the floor. And then gently release your feet to the floor. Keep your knees bent so the feet end up about hip width apart, parallel-ish, and close enough into your bum that you can tickle your heels with your fingertips. So this will essentially stack your ankles underneath your knees when we lift up, which will become a really strong base of support. Right now, my knees are probably traveling a little bit forward of my ankles. And then press your feet into the floor as you inhale. Start to peel the pelvis up and away into bridge. And then as you exhale, gently lower back down. So we're just going to move up and down through bridge for a few breaths, slowly starting to awaken all of the muscles here that are working. So the glutes, the hamstrings, the quads, the hip flexors, the abdominals, the erector spinae. The next time that you lift up, pause there. And then maybe you walk a little bit higher onto the shoulders. It gives you just a little bit more lift, sometimes a little bit more stability. And then from here, think of pressing your feet away and see where the activation is in the legs. You're probably going to feel that more in the quads and the top of the legs. And then hug the heels back toward you. So you're almost trying to drag your body forward or to the, yeah. And then feel where the activation is, probably more hamstrings. And then try to find a place that's in between the two. So the glutes squeeze a little bit more. And in fact, go ahead and really squeeze your butt for the last few seconds here. Rock hard, diamond butt. And then slowly lower back down to the floor. Shake it out a little bit, or a windshield wiper of the knees. And then come back to center, and we'll start our next set. Now you're welcome to just come up and down with both legs, or walk your left foot in toward the middle a little bit, hug your right knee toward your chest. It can help sometimes if you have a ball that you can hug in between your thigh and your torso, and then start to do single leg bridges. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. And then try not to let that right hip dip down. It can lift a little bit higher if you wish, but keep that knee hugging in. Last one. Lower down, shake it out. So starting to build some single leg strength. Now the right foot maybe walks in a little bit to the center. Again, you can just do both feet at the same time, up and down if you wish. Otherwise, hug your left knee in toward you, press the right foot into the floor, and then inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Last two. Last one. And slowly lower down. Shake it out. Hug your knees into your chest. Little rock from side to side. And then maybe hold the backs of your thighs. You could try rocking and rolling up and down your spine here. You could go all the way back onto your shoulder blades and up to your sit bones. If that doesn't feel good, then roll to one side and then press yourself up to hands and knees. Little draw of belly button to spine. Toes can be tucked or untucked. Hands nice and wide and fingers spread nice and wide. Inhale, lift the tailbone, hollow through the lower back. Wrap the shoulder blades toward each other. Exhale, round through your spine. Inhale into cow. Exhale, round into cat. So a few more of these ripples on your own time, on your own breath. And on your next exhale, gently come back to center. Little draw of belly button to spine. And again, maybe you bring your left knee in a little bit closer to the middle, and then pick up the right knee. And then lift the foot up to the sky. And in fact, you can lift it so much that the belly starts to dip. Press the sole of the foot up to the sky. So it's like a balancing cow. And then exhale, round. Bring your nose toward your knee. Inhale, lift. Sole of the foot presses up to the sky. Exhale, round. Last breath here. And on your next exhale, step the right foot to your right thumb. Back knee stays down, so you might want a chip foam block or something for a little bit of extra cushioning underneath that front knee. And then inhale, come up to half kneeling. You can always back out of the stretch a little bit and then start to sink into that front knee, into that front thigh. Really ground the front heel. So you feel the glutes activating on that right side. Squeeze the bum on the left side. So you're getting hip flexor release while we're activating the glutes on, well, both sides. Inhale the arms high. And then maybe a little wrap of the shoulder blades toward each other. And on your exhale, shift your hips back as you extend through the front leg, half splits. So getting into the hamstrings on that right side, wrap the left hip forward, draw the right hip back, belly button to spine. Hands could be on hips or on a wall. If you have blocks, you might use blocks, or maybe the fingertips reach to the earth. Keep wrapping the hips toward the front of the mat. A little buoyancy on that front knee. You don't have to see it, but just so you feel it. Last breath here. And we'll link those two together. So as you inhale now, sink through the hips, lift through the heart, low lunge. Exhale, hips back, extending through the front leg. So we're lubricating those joints, right? Hip, knee, ankle, as well as spine, of course. Because if those joints can't glide properly, they're not going to be able to stabilize as well as they could. And the next time that you come forward, pause there. Bring your hands to the earth and step your right leg back to hands and knees. Little wiggle or shake. Probably you're feeling your glutes on the right side a little bit more. Hopefully you are. And then we'll do all that on the opposite side. So weight goes to the right leg, and then pick the left leg up, flex the ankle, press the sole of the foot up to the sky. Maybe you lift so that the belly dips, and then exhale round. Inhale, lift, and exhale. On your next exhale, step the left foot to your left thumb, back knee stays down, and then inhale, come up for low lunge or half kneeling. Again, you can adjust or back out of the hips if you wish, and then start to sink into the front knee. Really ground the front heel down so you feel the activation starting in the glutes on that left side. Squeeze the bum on the right side to open through the hip flexors. And then maybe you inhale the arms up high. Chill out on the shrug muscles a little bit. You can lift the heart a little bit higher without dumping into the back of the neck. And then as you exhale, shift your hips back, extending through the front leg, half splits. Again, hands could be on hips or on a wall or blocks or maybe the floor. Really wrap the right hip forward as you draw the left hip back. Little lift of belly button to spine. Make sure that there's a micro bend on that front knee. And then can you imagine that front heel that you're dragging it toward you or back toward you just a little bit? Last breath here. And now as you inhale, rock forward, sink into the front knee, lift the heart. Exhale, drive through the front heel, send the hips back, extend through the front leg. So a few more of these ripples between low lunge and half splits on your own time, on your own breath. Last one. And the next time that you come forward, pause there. Bring your hands to the earth and then sweep that left leg back, hands and knees. Little wiggle or shake, little cat and cow. And then make sure your hands are nice and wide, outer shoulder width apart. or wider. Give lots of space for your shoulder joints. Tuck your toes. Exhale, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. So you could pedal the heels here toward the floor, bending one leg and then the other, releasing a little bit deeper into those calf muscles. Hug the upper arm bones toward each other, a little bit more stability through the upper body. And then a couple breaths of stillness. And then bend your knees, look forward. On your exhale, walk, step, or hop to the top edge of your mat into standing forward fold. And you could sway a little bit from side to side. Sometimes it feels good to rest your hands on blocks, maybe forearms. I can't quite get there. You could interlace your hands behind your head or clasp opposite elbows with hands, wherever you need to be. Just getting a little bit more length into the hamstrings, but also into the glutes, particularly if your knees are bent and you send your sit bones back and then maybe think of lifting them up. And then release your hands with fingertips to your shins. Inhale, a little partway lift. Pause here. And you don't want to be rounding through the spine. You really want to work the glutes. So send the sit bones back, belly button to spine. Wrap the shoulder blades onto your back. All right, so your hands are really helping you press into the legs so that you can find length through the spine. There might even be a touch of cow, so a little bit of a dip of the belly. And then exhale, let go. Couple more on your own time, on your own breath. And then bend your knees. Bring your hands to your hips. Wrap your elbows toward each other. Charge the legs. Inhale, come up halfway. Pause. Belly button to spine. Keep wrapping the elbows high. And then inhale. Come all the way up to standing. And shake it out. Whew. Really feel my hamstrings and glutes today. All right. Hope everyone's doing, okay with all that. My legs feel like I'm ready to jump into some single leg balancing. So let's go there. No time like the present. Little draw of belly button to spine, send all the way over to the right leg. I can feel myself sort of tilting over. So I'm going to come back to center, to square, find the stability on that right leg, and then pick up the left knee. Inhale here, and exhale into the side. So we're just going to do this. Opening and closing. Right. Abduction, adduction, transverse, abduction, transverse, adduction. Whatever you want to say. The next time you come back forward, pause there. And then inhale here. Exhale, kick the knee back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back. So the shape of the leg is similar to what we were doing from hands and knees. You can see that flex on the ankle. It's not quite reaching all the way up to the sky, but we're just getting now movement in the sagittal plane, flexion and extension of the hip. And then come back to center, and let's start to draw circles here. So take it up and out, and around, down, up and out. And then can you go the opposite direction, or across and down. And then maybe you just start to play with figure eights, or anywhere you want to go. And you're probably feeling that the stabilizing muscles on the right leg are really starting to work. You want this knee to be bent though, otherwise you're not getting as much activation as you could. Last breath. Inhale the knee high. Exhale, step the left leg down. Shake it out a little bit. Sometimes it needs a little extra release. And then send your weight over to your left leg. Again, find that buoyancy on your knee before you start. And then pick up the right leg without hiking the hip. Inhale here and exhale it to the side. So just a couple of these, opening and closing like a clam or a hug. And then bring the knee back to center. Inhale here. Exhale. Kick the knee back. Right, again, keeping the knee bent the entire time. So we're not worrying so much about the lower leg that's lifted, but really the hip. And then inhale the knee high. And then circles. So rotation. And you might notice one side that you have a bigger range of movement than the other. That is totally normal. Take the circles the opposite direction. The arms, I find, want to go in their own kind of pattern. And then maybe play with it. So you could do figure eights with that leg. Playing with any range of movement. Really working the stabilizers on that supporting leg. Woo. And then inhale the knee high. Exhale, step down. Shake it out a little bit. Whew, that's good. That's a little bit of single leg stability. Let's go back to both legs for a little bit. Take your feet wide and turn your toes out. Whew. On your inhale, sit the hips down and back. So like a goddess squat. You don't want to be leaning forward, but you also don't want to be so far up that the knees are pointing forward. You want to send the knees back to the baby toe edge of the foot, butt back, heart lifts. Right. Some people really like resting their hands here. Right. And in fact, you can use your hands as a reminder to send the knees back. The action there, it activates the glutes. So a couple more breaths here. You could rock a little bit side to side. You could dip the shoulder, which feels like quite a nice stretch through the groin, also through the shoulder joint. Maybe sink a little bit deeper. And then inhale up to the sky. Exhale back to squat. Inhale up. Exhale down. Last time. And then pause. Last couple breaths here. And then from here, gently straighten the legs. Spin the heels wide and come into a wide leg forward fold. You might have your hands resting on a block. You could heel into the feet apart even wider. Make sure that you're not pressing the feet away from each other here, that you feel a little hug of the legs back to the center line. So as if you're on ice skates, you don't want to all of a sudden be doing the Russian splits. Last couple breaths. And then slowly start to heel into the feet, back to your center line. Bend your knees and inhale. Roll all the way up to standing. Shake it out a little bit, little noodle. Shake out the legs. One last little bit of balancing from side to side. Send the weight back to the right foot and then kick your left heel to your bum. Grab the outside or the inside edge of the foot. If your shoulders have a tendency to roll forward, try grabbing the inside of your foot. Hug the legs toward each other. Squeeze the bum. Send the kneecap down on that left knee. And the more you heel or hug the heel in toward the bum, the more you're going to feel that across the quadriceps. or the top of the thigh. Open through the chest. Counterbalance with the right arm. Option to stay here. Other option to start to tilt forward. You can keep the hips square, or maybe you start to kick the foot back, opening through the hips into a dancer's pose. Find the buoyancy on that knee. And then inhale slowly. Come back up. Shake out. Little noodle or rest. As you lift up into dancer's pose, particularly if you're kicking that back or the lifted leg back, squeeze your bum like crazy so that you don't crank into the lower back, right? It helps protect and keep that long. Okay, weight over to the left leg. A little buoyancy on that knee and kick your heel to your bum. Again, hug the legs toward each other. Knee travels down, open through the chest. Beautiful place to stay, particularly if you're getting a lot of sensation across your quads. Maybe you counterbalance with your left hand. Maybe you start to tilt forward, keeping it square. Or maybe you start to bend the knee a little bit more and kick the foot back. And dancer, squeeze the bum. And then inhale all the way back up. Shake it out. Bring your feet mat width apart, toes pointing out. And on your inhale, sit down into squat. All the way down into Malasana. You could vary the width between your feet if you'd prefer to go into that wide leg squat that we were in earlier. Go ahead. Otherwise, wrap your shoulders onto your back. Little draw of belly button to spine. Press your elbows into your knees. Lift through the heart. Lots of buoyancy here, so that if you had to stand up, you could. Can you de-weight your big toes so that you're not rolling into the arches of the feet? Last couple breaths here. And then slowly sit down. Woo! Shake it out. And then swing your legs to the top edge of the mat. Exhale, lower all the way down to the earth. Hug your knees into your chest. Little rock from side to side. And then cross your right ankle over top of your left thigh. Keep that right ankle really active. The foot could stay on the floor, or you might start to draw the legs toward you, whether you're using your hands behind the thigh or a strap. If you have baggy clothes, you can hold on to your pants or your shorts. Keep this right ankle really active. So just releasing a little bit into the glutes that we, worked relatively hard today, as much as you can in a half-hour class. And then shake it out. When you're ready, let's switch to the opposite side. So as shallow or as deep as you need to go. So remember, if you have knee instability or knee pain, sometimes, not always, and of course I'm not a medical professional, but sometimes that could be due to either ankle or hip instability or weakness. So the more that we work the glutes, in particular, for stability of the leg and of the body, the more that our other joints in our legs will feel stable. Single leg stuff in bare feet, where you feel your foot wobbling a lot, that's your proprioceptors firing, that will also help any instability along those three joints in particular. Last breath. And unwind. Shake it out. Take your knees out toward your chest or shoulders. You could stay here, or maybe you kick the feet to the sky for happy baby. You could grab the backs, the thighs, somewhere around the legs, the ankles or the feet. Maybe you rock a little bit from side to side. And then start to think about where you would like to go for your rest. Whether it's flat on your back, legs bent or straight in Shavasana. Maybe you bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide for a butterfly position. You could rest on your side or in a child's pose or a seated meditation, wherever you need to be. And then once you've found your pose of rest, for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh your breath away. Couple more. And continue breathing however you need to, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. But return to a natural breath. So no more breath control. Let go of any muscle gripping or tension, particularly in your face or your jaw. Stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.